What do you want your life to look like? If you try to answer that question off the dome, you're going to either completely blank out, you're going to give me somebody else's story for your life, or you're going to try to feel me out and you're going to give me a story that you think will impress me. None of those are actually going to be helpful to you. I don't want you to develop some pie in the sky vision. I want you to formulate a vision that resonates with you and will help you build daily habits to achieve that. So one of the little tools in my toolbox is called the life inventory, and it's 3 different ways to make lists that actually inventory what you want to see for your life. You can make one of these lists or you can do all 3. It all depends on how much time you want to spend on it and how well the answers that come up resonate with you as you go through the process. If the very first one gets you to where you want to be, don't bother to do the other 2. Nobody's grading this. So here are the 3 ways. 1, by health, mental, physical, spiritual. 2, by each of your 5 senses. And 3, by your roles, spouse, friend, family member. The important thing is to really dial in what you want, not what anyone else wants for you. And lastly, this is brainstorm style. We're not editing, we're not overthinking, we're not going back and rereading, we're just making the lists. A lot of people talk about setting a vision for your life, but few people give you any tools to really sort through what that might look like for you. So let's really break down the 3 ways you can do your life inventory. First, by the 3 ways that you want to be healthy. I think in general, everyone wants to be mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy, even though those definitions are broad and can mean all kinds of things for you in your life. But sometimes you just need to break it down into those categories. What about your life would feed your mental health? What about your life would feed your physical health? And what about your life would keep your spirit happy? Next, you can take your life inventory based on your senses. This may sound crazy, but I want you to think about an average day in your dream life. What kinds of things do you see? What kinds of things do you hear? What kinds of things do you taste? What kinds of things do you smell? And what kinds of things can you touch? So here's some guiding questions. What do you want your home to look like when you walk in? What kind of foods are you eating? Does it excite you to have a life that's loud and busy? Or does it excite you to have a life that's calm and quiet? The last one I think will be easiest for most people, but it's the one that will most easily trip you up. And that is by taking your life inventory based on your role. For me, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a small business owner, I'm a community member. But the most important role is that I am myself. So this is where women get tripped up especially, because it's so easy to formulate your everyday life based on the expectations of everyone around you. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to think about the role that you want to play in those relationships. Maybe it's that you need better boundaries in one area of your life. Maybe you're like me and you easily get sucked into community projects and you need to start protecting your peace a little bit in that area. Maybe you have a toxic family member and you need to really think about the amount of influence you want that person to have on your life. So pick one or do all 3. Either do your mental, physical, spiritual health, do your 5 senses. I think that one's the most fun. Or evaluate your roles. The important thing is you don't overthink it, you don't edit it, you just make your lists. I'm going to tell you something that's going to feel wrong. Ignore what's realistic as you're figuring out your vision for your life. Setting your vision is just one step of this process, and there are other steps where we work on being more realistic. For this one, dream big. If at this stage you shrink your vision into what feels possible, you're just going to end up tidying up your current life. You're not going to actually move yourself forward. And then you're going to wonder why nothing's changing. I want you to take your life inventory as if nothing were in your way. Your dream life doesn't have to impress anybody. It just has to feel right. It can be quiet and still be powerful. You can identify things as simple as, I want to feel calm in every environment, or I want to be debt-free with a full passport. It doesn't have to look like a Pinterest board or sound like a TED Talk. The only wrong answer is one that isn't yours. I've walked you through how to do a life inventory. Now let's take those lists of bullets and let's formulate them into a vision that you can use to steer your life. So quick context. The vision is just a clear picture of your life that you're going to check and balance your decisions against. So take those lists that you made, whether you did mental, physical, and spiritual health, whether you did the 5 senses, or whether you did your roles, and you're going to stitch them into a few sentences written in the present tense like it's already true. Keep your vision broad enough that it feels expansive and helps move you forward. But don't get yourself super caught up in the details. You don't have to identify an exact amount of money you want in your bank account. You just want to identify how you want to feel about money, how you want to interact with money. So I'll read you mine and you'll see what I mean. I am safe, secure, and surrounded by my loving family. My husband and I are true partners. My relationship with Noah, that's my son, is loving, respectful, and supportive. I have impact on many people in many facets of my life and approach work not as a burden, but as a means of blessing others. My family is debt free, which allows us to travel, make lasting memories together, build generational wealth, and to give to others freely. We achieve this through multiple streams of revenue, including a beautiful store that is a cornerstone and destination experience for my community. So we have a safety nets in place and can pivot along the way. I am centered and aligned with my gifts while also being healthy and active. If you don't have a general vision for your life, you don't have any destination that you're steering toward. How is this feeling? Are you overthinking it, or is it simple? The biggest thing that trips people up when they're identifying the vision that they want for their life is they overthink it, or they think that it needs to be some kind of retreat or half-day process. You can do this in 20 minutes. I like to do this in a pen and paper journal. It needs to be something that you're going to look at regularly. I also like to write it on the giant whiteboard that's in my office. As I'm working, I literally am staring at it throughout every day. I really think this whole process is super fun to map out on a whiteboard. I've also used those giant sticky notes that you can put on a wall. I would discourage you at this point from using any kind of tech. I am not anti-tech in general. I actually leverage tech quite a bit on the logistics of my everyday planning, but for something like your vision statement, I think the tactile process of writing it down in a journal, on a whiteboard, or on one of those giant stickies really helps you dial in to who you are as a person. Also, you can use colored pens, markers, and you can make it really fun and colorful if that's your vibe. It's important to know that there's nothing specific that's needed for this. You can use a scrap piece of paper if that's all you've got on hand. I want you to set a timer for 20 minutes. I want you to first decide how you're going to do your life inventory. Are you going to use the 3 types of health? Are you going to use your 5 senses? Are you going to use your roles? Or have you developed another framework that's going to work best for you? Set a timer, write those categories at the top, and just start making your bullets. They don't have to be categorized. They don't have to be in order. They don't have to be ranked. You want to just get it out on paper and see what your brain comes up with once you start to write it down. And then set a timer for another 10 minutes and turn them into a paragraph. In just 30 minutes, you can take your life inventory and set up your vision. Do you have yours? I'd love to know which way you did your life inventory and whether that resulted in a vision that was helpful for you. Keep in mind this is step 1 of a 6-step process, and we're going to get into much more granular detail as we move along. I shared with you my vision. It's very broad by nature, but it has carried me through years of my life. It's designed to be broad and it's designed to be idealistic. As a Pisces, this is my favorite step of the process because this is the step of the process where I get to daydream. We're going to get a lot more tactical as we move forward, but if this is already helping you, follow along.